There we go. Welcome back, everyone. We're episode 13 today, lucky number 13. And I'm here as usual with my beautiful colleagues, Kim and Rachel. And we're talking lots of things today. It's going to be an awesome conversation. We're going to go in so many directions as we usually do. And I hope you get what you can from this amazing, incredible conversation. I'm going to start off with a question as we usually do. This one I'm throwing at you girls because you have no idea what's coming your way. And so, this is what we practice, right? We practice intuition. We practice speaking our truth in the moment versus overthinking and practicing and rehearsing. So this is part of what we do. So my question is, ladies, this past week, in the past 7 days or so, what has been emerging for you? What has emerged through a conversation, through an interaction, through a client, through something you've read, something you've experienced, somewhere you've been, something you've done that has suddenly brought you just a little bit closer to yourself, or brought you insight, or brought you clarity, or you've learned something new, or you've got excited or inspired by something. So any of that, it's really broad, but what is the thing that's just jumped out for you in the past week?
Pick me.
Go, Rachel, go, Rachel.
It's funny because, so full disclosure, Sue said just literally before the call, I'm going to ask you this really broad question. And me and Kim both went, oh no, I have no clue. And then as you were talking, this story pinged to me so clearly, and I'm going to share it with you. So this week I was on video call with my niece, who is about 5. And we were just playing some imagination games. We were just like asking questions like, what's your favorite this? What's your favorite that? And I said to her, what's your favorite animal? And she said, narwhal. She said, a narwhal with a rainbow horn, which I thought was really brilliant. And then I said to her, can you guess what my favorite animal is? And she said, seahorse. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't, that, do you know why that's really cool? I have a seahorse tattooed on my back. It's my only tattoo. And I just thought, that's not random. There's how many millions of species on the planet, and she picks the one, and she's never seen this on my back. She maybe doesn't even know what a tattoo is. Maybe she does now because I showed her afterwards. But I thought, isn't that incredible? I just thought that was incredible that out of the mouths of babes, because kids don't know the difference between unconscious, conscious, thinking, not thinking, overthink. They don't. They just unedit, and that's the beautiful attunement that we can all get access to. But then what happened next, so that in itself for me was really cool. But then what happens next was I'd always just gone, oh, well, I got it in my 20s and it was just some dude in London that I think got closed down afterwards for, not being as clean as he could be as a tattoo artist. And I thought it was just, I just picked a picture off the wall and thought, I like that. There was no thought went into the tattoo. But I just knew I love sea creatures and I thought it was really pretty and I liked the shape of it. And then, so after the call with my niece, I then looked into the symbolism of what the seahorse is about, and it just really resonated. It really spoke to me. It's about the unconscious. It's about being able to navigate through challenges with ease. It's about embodying the masculine and the feminine energies effortlessly, because they carry the eggs, don't they, for a while, the dude seahorses.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah.
And I just thought I really, really vibe with the seahorse energy. And in my 20s, I was a party girl. I was in London. I was living my best party life in my 20s while having a corporate job. But there was that part of me that was, that part of me was there, then that was seeking that. And I just, That really lit me up. It really lit me up, and I don't know what will happen next from it. I feel like it spurred some more creative ideas for me. So, yeah, that's my share.
Why,
Brilliant.
just drop the mic right now and we're done. Thanks for coming to episode 15.
Yeah, there we go.
That like is not gonna, for me, there's so many things. It's so broad and there's so many things. But I think in the last 2 weeks, the thing that I have been enjoying the most is our dog Django, who's 12 and a half. He had a stroke in October. He stopped eating in December. And now we've just let nature take its course. He's not one who wants a lot of intervention. So I've let him lead the way. And this guy is aging backwards. Just like Benjamin Button, he was not eating at Christmas. I would have said he wouldn't have made it to the new year. And he is keeping up with his 5-year-old sister, playing chase, wrestling. He comes home. He runs into the house. He runs up and down the hallway squeaking toys. I mean, it's unfathomable the change that I've seen in him. Will it last a day, a week, a month, or 3 years? We don't know, but man, every day is just wild, and it shows me how we sometimes try so hard to intervene. And
Mm,
when we just work together and listen to the fact that, like, he doesn't want so much fuss, maybe, and when I can temper my worry, how things just change. It's like the connection the 5-year-old with the seahorse, right? I mean, for her to say that was connection,
Mm,
at the deepest level,
yeah.
and we talk about intuitive connection, and I think that's where I've come to mature in my life, is to listen to Django and all the dogs and just that intuitive connection and that feeling, and so, yeah, I think for me, that's it.
brilliant. I love that so much. So now it's going to turn on me and I have nothing to say. Yeah, I too I've had I really have. I've had a good week of so many different things happening. But I'll speak into the intuitive connection because that seems to be the thread here. Um, and yes, I've had two incidences in the last 2 days where I've been thinking of somebody and literally within minutes I'll get a text from them, or I did reach out to the one I was thinking of and she wrote back, "I've just been thinking about you." So we know this. It's happened to us so often. I'm sure everybody's experienced it. But for me, it's almost like it feels like it's becoming quicker.
Mm,
It's becoming like where it used to be maybe within the same week somebody would contact you. Now it's literally instant. And I'm feeling that. I'm feeling a lot of this intuitive connection with all sorts of things in my life happening a lot more quickly. Is that a sign of the times? Is it a sign of me tuning into it more, trusting it more, listening to it more? I don't know. It would be a good thing to explore. Um, but certainly, yeah, feeling into that and just being able to and trusting it. So yeah, I want to just play with that more. I think I know that it's there and it's done um, unconsciously, but without trying, without
mm,
like making it into like, oh, I'm going to, what do you call it? I'm going to make something happen. I'm going to manifest something by doing this. Not like that, because I've also, learned that to me, pulling back from that. I think I'm in control and I can manifest anything in my life to really, just step aside because things actually unfold quite on their own without us interfering. And miracles happen just as much when we just open to letting them, giving it the space. So that's the one thing. And then perhaps the other thing is just that I've been exploring with my group of people a lot about also, the going into the body, listening to the body more instead of being stuck in our heads and stuck in our minds and stuck in our thoughts. And we've just been exploring this. And again, not going too deep, like what does that mean and how can I fix this and blah, blah, none of that. It's really just getting to know the signals and that our bodies are giving us all the time. And that doesn't have to be a big thing like pain or, it's the little tiny things. It's little like, how's my breath in this moment? Or, what is my jaw doing? What are my hands doing? What are my legs doing? Are they crossed or are they apart or whatever it is? It's just so interesting to notice that as you go through the day, and then you might read an email or you might see something or hear something, and suddenly there's so many little sensations that will change in the body that we're so unaware of. And so we're just practicing becoming more aware of those. And I've just found it fascinating. I just found it fascinating how our body's speaking to us all the time, in these little nuanced ways, not necessarily the big, obvious ways. Oh my God, I've got a headache, I've got a migraine. That too, but I'm talking about the more subtle little nuances, which goes back to that sort of intuitive connection to ourselves.
I love that. And I want to speak to that because I don't think it's a coincidence that things are happening more quickly and you're actively being more consciously connected and more in
Ah,
your
yes.
body.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
I just think that I just feel that more being in that more present state and that more hyper aware of everything around us. We do then just notice everything more easily without the attachment.
That's the key, isn't it? Without the
Yeah.
attachment, noticing it and just saying, that's interesting what I'm noticing versus what does this mean and what do I need to do next with this information and blah, blah, blah. That's the sticky path that we can go down.
I was just, as an example, before we had the call, I had a session with one of my mentees who's a dog trainer and is wanting to kind of really tune more into her intuitive senses. She's already picking stuff up anyway, but it's more kind of fine tuning. And it was really interesting when we went connected with a dog. And this was the first time that there would have probably felt like a bit of pressure because I'm saying, let's do it live between the two of us. So that even though I'm really relaxed and I'm like, this is just you and I, we're having fun, there's still always that unconscious pressure to be like, oh, what if I get it wrong? What if And so when she shared what came through, I could tell that she was skipping past bits that she picked up on just in case. And that's what we do, isn't it? We skip past bits because we're like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Or we might call it random or illogical or weird. And that is where we're dismissing that information. So what happened was she connected with a dog and he wanted to take her to this one environment. But because we kind of had this container of space, she then moved it on. But he's like, no, I want to go here. And it's almost like we try and force things because of these unconscious agendas that we have. But where have those agendas come from? Like, who made them up? Like, who says we have to have these agendas, but that we have so many of them, so many they're cultural, they're ancestral, they're the whole, like all of these human constructs, I feel are the things that keep us limited and keep our senses shut down. I'm talking from my limited experience of being a Western woman, but I'm getting even more and more aware on a daily basis. The more I practice animal communication and listening to my body and watching nature, the more I become aware of and amused by the human constructs, which are made up. It doesn't mean they're not important and not valid, but they literally are made up. We don't have, we don't have to be, it's not that. I wasn't going to say we don't have to be part of them, but it's just to have that awareness of that they are made up constructs and they've come from somewhere, like religion, Disney. We were literally talking about Disney movies. That's, all of this unconscious stuff is playing out. So when we say we want something or I want something in my life, is that really true? or is it just some construct that we have bought into that from birth, and we're like, shit, I actually don't even really enjoy that. And that's the deeper, like putting it into a simple story with my dog, my English pointer. I literally love the simplicity of hanging out with her at home, doing little searches, doing the odd walk where we go somewhere quite simple and just being with her. I don't no longer think I have to do all of these incredible wild things with her because someone else thinks or I've thought that we should train her to do A, B, C, D, F, G. I don't know. I just want to get to know what I love, and I think the constructs need breaking down, and I think that's why we have this podcast.
I think that, like, I absolutely love, Sue, where you went with the body awareness and Rachel with attachment, because it's so important to recognize when we're attached. And I think, there's many threads that go off of listening to your body. And yet I've been in the same place, Sue, as what you're doing with your people, where I've just been very aware of, like, when a breath catches
Mm.
in the most subtlest of moment, or how somebody will say something that's maybe unfavorable towards something else or someone else, and you feel like a contraction because you're not comfortable hearing that, or maybe somebody says something, to you about you, and you just, like, you feel that contraction. And when things feel really good, we feel this, like, just this light and this expansion. And I don't know, like, this, it's almost like there's just beams going from your chest. And I love all the work of, like, Veda Austin with the water and the
Mm.
freezing of the water. And, like, I've been so into all of that, and just, like, structure and how it structures our cells. And oh my goodness, and I have been paying attention more to my subtle, almost defense mechanisms, like the fight, flight, freeze, fawn, collapse type things. And, like, I just hilarious. We have a whirlpool tub with jets, and I was in it the other day, and it was just a simple little, like, freeze. But a year ago, 14 months ago, I was in there and there was a leak. And so the water level dropped by half while I was just relaxing. And, like, I didn't realize, like, oh, did I hit the drain? Did I hit the drain? So, of course, like a dingbat, I filled it back up again, and I'm relaxing, and all of a sudden the water is like half, and I go down into the floor below,
Oh, shit.
and there's just water dripping through the light fixtures, down the walls. And,
Oh,
I mean,
God.
it was an expensive problem, let's put it that way. And about a month ago, we were kind of afraid to get a replacement. So we just sat with, like, a hole in our bathroom for, like, 15 months. And I finally was like, I'm kind of done. Like, let's put it back. So we put a new tub in there. And I shit you not, the first time, like, that I'm in it, I'm in there, I'm relaxing, and the water level drops by half. And my breath caught, but I was doing this body listening, and so I paused in that breath catch and that panic, that sheer freeze. And I'm like, it's the drain. And there was a newfangled drain in this tub where if you step on it, it opens.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I had hit
Spring
it.
on it.
And so I hit it, and I'm like, I was down there fiddling, and I got it put back. But I mean, it was just that memory comes back. So I love, Rachel, that you talked about how it's like no one's fault that we have constructs. We've built them for survival and safety, and for,
Society.
right,
Yeah.
societal
Yeah.
things. But at the same time, there are ones that are meant to be taken down. And you don't have to look any further than numerology, astrology, or any of those things to realize we're in a wild time right now.
Mm.
So, I mean, Saturn just moved into Aries, so we're all about action, and I think that's why things are happening much faster.
Interesting.
So, and other things too. I mean, there's planetary shifts going on that we haven't seen, in our lifetimes, and won't ever see again. So, It's
Yeah,
just
exciting times,
wild.
isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
wild and
it's
exciting times that
wild,
we're living in.
awesome time to be alive, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Can I share a water pool story? Because
Go
it sort
for it.
of ties into attachment a little bit. And um, so a couple of years ago when we had Cosmo, our Boston Terrier, it was like the hottest summer. And so we got a little paddling pool and we inflated it. Took hours because my girlfriend and I we're just not very butch really. We like between the two.
Couldn't you have got a pump, Rachel?
No, we didn't blow it up with our mouths. We did use a pump, but it would have been like the tiniest foot pump or something that we got from
To blow up
like,
balloons or something.
yeah, probably. So it took us hours and hours and hours, and we were doing it in the sweltering heat. And we filled it up with water and we got in it. And then our Boston Terrier came along, put his teeth in it, and completely ripped it to shreds. And all the water came flying out, went down all over the lavender plants, and just hilarious. So funny. But we sort of, I can imagine years and years ago would have got really annoyed about that because I would have been like, look, this is what we're going to do today. We're going to have a paddling. But of course, everyone has different agendas playing out and they all weave in together, don't they? But I don't know, maybe Cosmo needed the lavender needed water, or maybe he just, who knows? But it is fun. It's almost, we laugh in the face of attachment, don't we? We have to laugh at our attachments and expectations. Don't you cry?
So
Yeah.
I'll share something else that kind of ties into this. I think is like you said, different perceptions about different things as well. So, for instance, you had that experience prior, Kim. So you would be programmed. Your mind would be programmed to like look for something like that or to worry about something like that. So I've had this thing with we've been talking about safety within the body. What does that feel like? You know, what makes you feel safe, what doesn't make you feel safe. And one of the ladies in the group said to me, well, what is safety actually? I
Mm,
thought, well, that's quite a good
Question.
question
that
because we
is a good
talk about
question.
it all the time, but what is it? What is safety? And again, Rachel, I came to the conclusion, that's my conclusion, that safety is a construct as well. It's a construct, it's personal, it's situation dependent, it's dependent on your life's experiences, depends on what specific situation you're in. And so it's dynamic, it's shiftable, it's flexible, isn't it? And it's also a state of being. And we know that the nervous system is very we know that the nervous system can put us into that state of hyperarousal, into that state of stress as a response. But we also know that we can also change our state very quickly. We can change a state, not always very quickly, but we can change a state of being. We can shift from one state of being to another. And sometimes it feels impossible because we think the nervous system has taken over the body and so we can't do anything about it. But actually, it shifts back into equilibrium by itself pretty quickly if we don't interfere with our thoughts and our stories. The moment we attach a story to something, that's when obviously it goes just starts spinning in a cycle. Whereas if we just left it alone, it kind of passes through like a wave through our bodies, comes back to equilibrium, and then we're in another state of being, right? So we can actually shift it quite easily if we get out of the way. And so I was thinking about this so one of the things that happened recently, but it's also been an ongoing thing for me, is being the passenger in a car to when somebody's driving, i.e. my husband. So when he loves to drive really, really fast, and I feel unsafe being a passenger in a fast driving car. And over the years, it's been much of a debate and argument. And as you can imagine,
Debate. Oh, we're having a heated debate.
but his argument to that, when I started really listening, was, from my side, I was blaming him for me not feeling safe. He was the blame of me not feeling safe, right? You are driving too fast. You are irresponsible. Therefore, I feel unsafe. Therefore, you need to stop what you're doing. And of course, he did oblige sometimes with like a real big sigh and lots of resentment, but he obliged. Anyway, but it's been an ongoing thing. And then I suddenly realized, and I actually asked him at some stage, I said, so why is it that you don't feel unsafe? And he said, because I love speed. It thrills me. It's exciting. And I said, yes, but and you in control. You've got the steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, yes, because I trust myself. I trust myself with the steering wheel. And he said, I also trust that I will keep you safe. I would never do something as stupid as to, put you in danger or the dog's in danger or the kids in danger, etc. He knows his limits. And I thought about it and I thought, this is coming from the mouth of somebody who I know has always had, jobs and careers where he's driven a lot and he's clocked up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of kilometers over the years. And I know he's a really good driver. He's got a track record to prove it. Touch wood, nothing as serious has happened, but it's me not trusting that, and it's me not trusting in life. It's me saying, I'm just, I can't trust in life. I can't trust him. I can't trust that something will be happening, blah, blah. And again, comes in all the conditioning, right? Comes in all the constructs that it's unsafe to drive, that it's blah, blah. You see all these things on the side of the road, speed kills, blah, blah. So you're programmed with that all the time. And yet, and I don't want to make this seem less than what it is. I'm not trying to say that we should all be speeding on the roads and be irresponsible, but I am trying to say that I recognize that my program was so deep, that with this. So I literally shifted that and I thought, let me experience it the way you do. Let me experience this like a thrill ride. And so I did. I literally shifted then. And at first it was like, oh my God, I can't see this. Oh my God, I can't watch. And then it was just settling into it and just going with the flow and feeling the adrenaline, but not the adrenaline going into a state of shock, rather adrenaline going into the state of excitement. Anyway, so cut a long story short, we went recently when we went to South Africa, I was with my cousin and his and her husband, and he was driving a 4x4 on beach roads, which were pretty darn crazy with big, huge dungas and sand roads going way too quickly for, for anybody's liking. And my cousin was hanging on and asking her husband to slow down, slow down, slow down. And my husband was sitting in the passenger seat and he was hanging on. He wasn't saying anything, but I could see by his face that he was the passenger now of all of this. And I was just sitting there and having the time of my life. I thought this is the coolest driver. So all that to say that I just think that, yes, we are so conditioned to, something like a construct, any of the constructs, whether it be around safety, whether it be about what we should or shouldn't do. Yes, it comes with all part of our programming, but it's equally as easy to say we can choose something else. We can choose a different experience. And I wanted to throw that back at you because I think we can take that to our animals as well. What do you think, Oz?
Well, and I love you did that because that's what I feel is the biggest win of animal communication is because we're looking at everything through our lens, aren't we? So we'll look at our dog and be like, you're always barking at a lorry and we get annoyed about that and we stuck in that story. And then you ask them, you connect with them energetically, telepathically, and then they share with you a different perspective, and then that shifts us immediately because we're experiencing life from their perspective. So then we feel different, we experience that interaction, that moment differently. So what I personally got from that story was how you were curious about experiencing it through your husband's lens and embodying that yourself. So I think it's two things for me personally. It's that you could have, I'm getting a picture of like, when you go to the fun fair and you have those like spinning tops and that everyone is on the same ride, but they'll all have a different experience. And they could get on that ride again in another week and again, they would all still have a different experience. but we're programmed to really not really notice those differences because maybe it's being a human, we tend to look for the same thing. I don't know. We tend to look for what is the same. So
Well,
we
we
don't
would.
know.
Yeah,
Go on.
I'm going to interrupt you there. Excuse me, Rachel, because I think that's what our brains are programmed to do. They're
Yeah.
programmed to predict an outcome according to the previous experience we've had.
Yeah. And
So
that,
we will
and
be looking for something similar almost, or expecting
yeah,
something similar, won't we?
Goes right into the Raz brain, right? I mean,
Mm,
like
mm,
what's in your consciousness and what you're
mm. So
so
how much of that do you think, sorry, Rachel, that I'm
that's right.
interrupting here. How much of that do you think that is um, that our dogs don't have? I mean, our dogs will also have a predicting sort of brain, but they won't have all the stories and all the social constructs and all the limitations um, on that. So how, yeah, like, yeah, what's to say that they don't experience it really differently and really differently each time
Yeah. Yeah.
without the concerns that we might have attached to it?
Yeah. I find it, I don't even know the answer to this because I feel like, because just dogs are just present, aren't they? So but then I'm thinking of dogs that will have a reaction to something repeatedly, but it's not, um, they are still just experiencing it in that moment. I don't know where I'm going with this. Uh, I'll hand over. I'll let you guys talk and it might come to me what I'm trying to express.
awesome. I mean, just so much came up for me, Sue, when you were talking about that and when you asked what is safety, because to me, safety borders on survival. And I don't think it's always a
Mm.
construct, but I think in our modern human way, with the way, ooh, I could get myself in trouble here. That's what Unruly by Nature is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like when all you see on the news and all you hear is fear, those programs become very, very strong because
Mm.
sometimes it does come down to survival. I mean, I'm sure you heard stories when you were in South Africa. I mean, there are times where animals are being hunted and they're unsafe. We see the coyotes around us and they are out and they're hunting. So I think safety is this variable in that we can change our state, but you definitely wouldn't want to change your state if you were in dire
Yeah, sure.
survival, right? So
Mhm.
like an awareness, and I think there's a pause in there that like when we can become aware of the whisper of something rather than waiting for the scream. To me, that's when you can maybe start to change your state and make a different response. And I loved how you were talking about story and cycle, and then it comes into pattern. That really struck me. And when you were talking about your husband and being the passenger in the car, I resonate so strongly with that. And I noticed how I was like would ride in the car with my fists clenched, and so it's like I'm starting to become aware that I'm already tense. But you said the phrase, "I'm not in control,"
Mm.
and that's true. And it led me to like we really want to be the star in our own movie and the author of our own story of our life. And yet, in this modern world where everything is convenience, we outsource everything. So I think when it comes to our dogs, we outsource to behavior training so that we control, like we're trying to become the driver of our dog on some level. And like for me, that just has never felt good. Like I've just constricted in my body, but I've done it because I thought that was right. It was the construct of that's what I am supposed to do.
Mm.
And now, like the story I just told with Django, I think I have done the opposite. I think I understand that I worry about him when he has a stroke or when he's not eating, but then I can take a breath and take a pause and like just intuit to him And I know it's not even something that's a guess, it's not a surmise, it is I know that he doesn't want intervention because he's also teaching me something about how powerful the body is
Mm.
and the capabilities that we have to come out of it. And I can also talk, Rachel, to what you were saying because Zori is a dog who acts completely differently if she's outside and I'm sitting in a chair, and she's free to run about 7 acres of our property and she won't. And some days, like she'll go 50 meters away or whatever, but there's coyote around. And on those days, I know that there's something around because she will not leave. She will not leave my side within a couple of feet.
Mm.
And some days she won't even go to the bathroom at a specific time when we go out.
Mm.
And we come back in, but if Django's there, she feels safe.
Mm.
And so she will go on walkabout. And even there's been days where I've wanted to go for a walk in the yard and she'll be at the door like, "Nope, we're not doing it. Let's go
Yeah.
inside." So
Yeah.
her mechanism for safety is that's not a story. That's actually something real. She senses a predator.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
I find it fascinating, this conversation, and I think it's just yeah, it's blowing my mind. So awesome.
I think it's the dynamic element that really lands with
Mm.
me that you said, Sue, that it is it changes in every situation,
Mm.
every moment. There's a someone that lives on our road that Darcy historically will just be like, move away, growl, bark, just not comfortable with. And we were like, "Oh, it's interesting, specifically this person." And the more she does it, the more he's like, "I really wanna meet your dog." Like, "I really wanna, like," and the wife's like, "Just leave her be." And today so I met them outside in a different context, and I'd found out that he's been really unwell, like, really, really unwell, and it came out of the blue. He wasn't aware of it, but Darcy was.
Mm.
So what to the human eye looks like, oh, there's something she doesn't like about him, or she's whatever it is, we jump to the conclusion. And it was only after, and of course it could be something else, but now he's well. I had her out today and she approached him and stood by him, which is the first time. And I'm like, isn't that fascinating?
Mm.
It,
So
so I,
that's such a beautiful example, Rachel, of exactly that. If we given, like you said, it can become a habit, a pattern.
yeah,
And I wonder how much of that is due to our thoughts about that as well. And I'm not blaming us. I'm not saying it's wrong or right or whatever. But if we know our dog doesn't like a specific dog or a specific person, do we already preempt it when we see that person that we almost expect them
yeah,
to respond in that way? And they're picking that up from our micro movements and our thoughts and whatever, that we actually preempting it. Whereas if we gave them an opportunity, would they be able to experience that person differently in that, like just like Darcy did, she was given an
yeah,
opportunity to experience this person differently on this day.
yeah,
And just like me, when I had a different experience of what it meant to be safe or unsafe in a car, it could change my perspective. And it doesn't mean that tomorrow I won't get in a car and feel nervous with the next driver,
yeah,
but I know it's possible for something else.
yeah. I'm really integrating that. Really, really,
Yeah.
I can really feel my system taking that. You know, when you take something in at a certain
Mm.
level, but I feel like it's integrating into my body. And I feel like it is that we're looking for, maybe it's we're looking to be right, or see, I knew you'd do that. See, I knew you would bark. See, I
Yes.
knew you would, but we don't notice the nuances because
Mm-mm.
things are so loud. We're so used to things, even in our bodies and in life, having to be really extreme and really loud, that we aren't sensitive to the subtleties, like seeing, the droplet on a spider's web, or the plant has moved to the left. We're not as, some people are, of course, but we're not as sensitive to that. And I feel it's the sensitivity and the open-mindedness when we're approaching a dog. So if my dog was having this interaction with a dog every time, and then I went and then had a conversation with the person separately and then learnt about them and then found out they did a really cool job, I'm going to approach that interaction differently. Or I may hear that their dog is unwell. I will be different.
That's right.
There is no doubt about it. I know when which is why sometimes with Darcy, because she points, she lays down and waits and does all of that thing, and she might have an explosion of barking if they just walk past her. But I know if I take time to talk to that person, get to know them a little bit, that also helps her. It helps me and it helps her. So it could be that I still, whatever, want to avoid them, or I just feel we're different all the time and we don't necessarily recognize it because we're always looking for, the loud, the
pattern.
obvious, the
Yeah.
pattern. We're looking for the pattern. But literally, I was laying on my back on my yoga mat, looking at the sky of my skylight and just watching the clouds. Like, you've got these big bulbous ones and then the soft, like fluffy ones, and they're constantly shifting state, merging, changing with the light, with the air temperature, with all of the things with the birds that I'm not aware of and not sensitive to yet, but they're never the same. And I just feel that's in the dog world. It's all of these constructs. They're there to help us. We think they're there to help us with our dogs, but actually they sometimes get in the way of what's actually there right in front of us.
Oh, you're right. I mean, I'm just sitting here and when I started doing animal communication, doing that work, I would say I'm going to use the word rarely, but I'm very close to actually saying the word never. But I will use the word rarely because never is probably not true. But it was rarely what I expected was what came of it. The information was radically enlightening for me, and it changed me. It has changed me. Every connection changes me. And you said we're different all the time. And I had to jump in because we are different all the time. I will be different at the end of this podcast. I will be different at the end of this segment of the podcast than I was. But so are our dogs. So that state of change, was it the neighbor that got well? Was it a lot of things? Was it something in you that had shifted? Or did Darcy go on a walk and have an experience and something in her shifted? And I think that that's where we can beat ourselves to crazy, but that's the nuance. And we don't have to know. It doesn't matter. But I think being curious about that is where the real the real lesson and that treasure lies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Magic, Kim. Magic.
Yeah.
And going back, and I know we've said this many times in the podcast, but it's about we have such a limited amount of information at any one time. And knowing that there's so many, like you said, so many other nuances that are happening outside of our conscious brain that could be influencing situations. And so, yeah, just broadening to that awareness. That's all again. And maybe just speaking to what you said earlier, Kim, I don't know if this was before we hopped on or not, and we were talking about having to figure it out, having to say, well, let's try and figure this out. And it's fun. It's fun to be curious, and it's fun to consider these things, because I think that's how we expand our awareness. But it's also, we don't have to have all the answers. It's just a case of wow, let's just be in awe of that, of how it unfolded, and let it be.
Yeah.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes. And you can, when you say that, it feels good, doesn't it? It feels good to, even if you don't understand it intellectually, and people that are listening to this aren't necessarily clicking with the words, but you can feel the difference in the energy when something is said, and your body has a reaction.
Yes.
I mean, my body reacts So when I'm listening to you both, I'm aware of how my body is. I may sometimes not catch the words all the time, and but I'm aware more with my body than my mind sometimes,
Absolutely.
which is why we're unruly.
So one last thing that I had this week was an insight about insight.
Ooh.
You know, I always used to think an insight was an intellectual thing. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like I had this real little light bulb moment that would go ping, and it was like suddenly you have a knowing or an understanding or a something. But when I really drilled down on it, it was a full body experience. It was a tingling throughout my body, and I actually very often couldn't put it into words what I just suddenly come to know deep down inside. It was suddenly like, oh, I get it. And then somebody says, well, what did you get? Well, that. It's like an insight is actually not an intellectual thing. It's actually a full body experience where your body is getting it, where the deep wisdom in your body. And sometimes I find it's very hard to actually put that into words, what that insight actually was. It's just a knowing. It's just a deep, aha, got it. Got what? I don't know, but I got it.
When you're saying that, you know what I'm like with words. It's an insight. So your whole body is seeing it from within.
Beautiful, Rachel.
You know,
so
I'm here for that. I'm a linguist.
Cool.
I love playing with words.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
It is indeed an inward sight. Yes. Yeah. Brilliant.
Did you pick oils? Or are we too early for oils? We picked oils?
I'm good.
No.
I'm good.
I already had an oil out, which is yuzu, and then
Cheater.
I thought, I know. Well, this is why, because I anticipated getting told off. So I thought, I know.
You're programmed to me.
I know. I thought, I can't just have one I've picked. I have to pick one randomly. So I went over to my box, but because they're alphabetized at the minute, I thought, well, I'm going to know where they are. So I had to like move my box around and then move my body. And then and I thought, oh, I really want something like that would be in Vicks Vapor, like something rosemary or eucalyptusy.
I've got rosemary.
I picked up eucalyptus, bitches.
Nice.
And I've got rosemary.
Nice.
How cool is that?
Please say you've got peppermint, Kim. You're going to have something off the wall.
Of course, you know I'm the misfit. I have the
you
opposite.
Are the misfit.
I have the opposite. I have midi attar, which is like very soft and very grounding. And so it is not eucalyptus, but I was up here getting everything all set up and setting up my microphone, and I flipped on my camera and I'm hitting my keyboard and I'm like, Nikes, I don't have my computer. Oh crap, I don't have an oil. And it's like 1 minute before running downstairs to the other part of the house.
What's it called? Something attar. Which one?
MITTI, midi attar. It's from Kathy's Atars.
Yeah.
What is it?
ITTI.
What is it, Kim? Tell us more.
I don't remember the whole blend, but I do know like an attar is made with it's always in a sandalwood base. It's made in India, and it's whatever midi is. I didn't look it up because it was 1 minute before we were getting on.
It's a cute name though, isn't it? MITTI.
Yeah, it's just extraordinarily grounding. So it's very earthy, and it's like it takes that hyper energy and just I've just been like zen this whole time. I mean, the podcast relaxes me when you talk about like your state. Yeah. These conversations they fuel me in the best ways. So yeah, and this is just a very grounding, because I can start to feel quite spazzy. I own that.
Yeah, and
I love it.
rosemary, I love rosemary, and it's been catching my rosemary plant has been catching my eye every time I go outside because I leave it. It's in a pot, but it's outside, and I mean, it's wintered perfectly. You know, it's had been full of snow, and now the snow has melted, and it's still there. And I just think it's such a steadfast, strong, resilient plant, and I absolutely love it in winter stews at this time of the year, particularly. So it's just so comforting as well for me. I love it. And so when I saw the bottle today, I said, this is just what I felt like. And I offered Layla some whiffs of it. I sat with it for a little bit just before, and I just really enjoyed the warmth and also the strength that it gave me. And then I offered it to Layla, and she did the little lipping and the sniffing and a big sigh, and then lay down. So I know she enjoyed that too.
Oh man, we were out for dinner on Saturday night with my mom, and they were making something seasonal and just with rosemary. Oh my Lord, did it just made the whole entire place smell so good. I just
I am
love that aroma.
salivating.
I know. How can we incorporate that into dinner? I ask myself. And you know what? It's funny because I have talked about for at least 3 years planting rosemary in our gardens, and I haven't done it yet. So I think this might be the year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's such
love
a
rosemary.
rewarding plant. I mean, we've actually got one. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to take it out this year, but I've got one massive one. It's like, I would say it's also in a huge, huge pot, but it stands easily, I would say 70 centimeters high and about 70 centimeters wide. It's a massive big plant. But the last season it started going really woody. So I think it's coming to its end, but I've had it for good 4 or 5 years. It's just magnificent.
Yeah, it would look so good in our garden. It would smell so good in our garden.
Yes.
It would smell so good in our food. I could go on, but I won't.
What about your eucalyptus, Rachel?
Oh, it's one of my all-time favorites. I absolutely, I love eucalyptus. I love rosemary. I love your mentholy, cineole. There's something about that chemical that just resonates with me. I have got a eucalyptus plant in the garden, and I've got quite a few rosemaries, and I'm the same. If I were a dog, I'd be rolling in it. It's spiky, but yeah, I love it.
All right,
Awesome.
ladies, should we call that a wrap? Sounds like it's coming to a perfect ending again. So let's
Full
call it a wrap.
circle.
Any last final words?
No, just awesome to be with you ladies again. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
And
ditto.
I guess this is the part where we're going to start saying, if you enjoy this podcast, like and subscribe.
Hit the button below.
Yes, do that.
On whatever platform you're on. We're so new.
We are so new. We're like, we need to remember to remind people that they kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you like
we
that? I
do.
remembered.
And so, yeah, please comment, ladies. I mean, you don't have to do a long story, but if you enjoyed this, just let us know. It's lovely to have the feedback. We love, love, love these conversations, but it's always nice to hear that somebody out there in the ether is enjoying them too. So let us know.
Yeah. And drop us a question and we'll start with it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we'd love that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's invite questions that we can start each episode with. That would be so cool.
There we go.
All right, ladies. Good. We'll see you for episode 14 in 2 weeks. 2 weeks time? 1 week
2
time?
weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah. Love you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye. Adios.
Bye.